Okay, you already have the high, and the high can be the anxiety, and the low is the depression, okay, that I experienced as a kid. Hello and welcome. Today we're going to discuss caffeine and what caffeine does to your brain if you're living with ADHD, ADD as well. And this is my personal experience, and it may help you. So today I'm going to go over what caffeine does to your brain if you are already hyper or have an ADD disorder. So what happened to me when I was younger was that the caffeine put me on a overload in my brain. I was already hyper, and then eventually the hyperness wore off. But what happens is people who have ADHD and you take caffeine, it literally multiplies the hyperness in their body, their mind. What it does for me, and this is my personal experience, is this. It makes me sharper. When I take caffeine, it makes me sharper and it makes me think faster. And when I was creating a painting or a website or editing a video or any art related things at the time in front of the computer or the canvas, I would drink lots and lots of coffee. I enjoyed coffee so much that I overloaded myself on 5 cups of coffee a day. Now, you can normally say, okay, what's wrong with that? Well, you have to realize something. When you are living with a child or an adult who has ADHD or ADD, and I'll tell you the differences from my point of view, okay, how I lived it is the caffeine multiplies the hyperness. So if you're already hyper, and you're a talker, or if you cut people off during their sentences and you don't complete tasks because your mind is going in different directions, this is what happens. You're drinking the caffeine, it's stimulating your brain in such a high rate and putting your brain you're already either a fast thinker. Well, you're thinking at rapid speeds now. You are acting fast. You're thinking fast. You're doing things very, very quickly without thinking it through first, without possibly praying it out first, and you act quickly. Somebody says something, you want to buy. Sometimes you'll buy on a pulse. Sometimes it's called emotional buying. You feel really, really good from the caffeine, and you're gonna, you want to, whatever makes you feel good, it's called impulse buying. You're gonna buy something, you're gonna act on something, and sometimes the caffeine will literally stimulate your brain so high that you'll go 5 or 6 different directions in your brain, and then you'll end up having a false anxiety attack and wondering, why am I edgy? Why am I frustrated? And why am I angry over this? Now, here's the deal. I was this person for a long time, very long time. I was addicted to caffeine. If you're this person who relies on energy drinks all the time, there's going to be an upside and a downside. The upside is it's going to give you the high that you really want. You want to feel good, but you're going to have to keep that high going all day long because you're going to have a crash. And the crash is going to give you a false depression and the low that comes along with it. So ADD already has a high and a low in the brain. Okay, you already have the high, and the high can be the anxiety, and the low is the depression, okay, that I experienced as a kid. I was happy for 5 minutes, and then I crashed 5 minutes later on depression. Now I want to take and drink it all day long in the coffee. And I want to drink that because it's giving me the stimulation high, the caffeine high that I enjoy. It's also making me as sharp as a razor when it comes to decisions. But at the same time, you're not thinking in a general sense that maybe this is a good idea or this is a bad idea. It literally knocks that off. It cancels your common sense in the brain, because it did for me. It cuts off your common sense in the brain, and it does not give you, it gives you a false anxiety. I remember going to counseling, and I remember the counselor telling me, do you drink a lot of coffee? And I said I would drink tons and tons of coffee because it was giving me the high that I enjoyed. But at the same time, I wasn't understanding that it was giving me a false anxiety at the same time. I would wake up morning after morning in my bed, and I would be worried, dreadful of the day that I had to go through at work. And the work or the job that I was at wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. And so now you're putting worry on top of what's going to happen today, on top of anxiety. Am I going to do good today? Am I not going to do very well at work today? What's going to happen? So your mind is racing on the anxiety of the what if of your day before you even get out of bed. I remember laying in my bed, and I'm not trying to go off a rabbit trail. I'm explaining myself, laying in my bed and having worries and anxiety attacks before I even got out. But the problem is this: I was drinking lots of caffeine. And you say, well, maybe you were going through a caffeine crash. But the problem is this: your body is reacting to that caffeine in not such a good way. Now, everyday people, when I say everyday people who don't have this disorder, because this disorder can literally take over your whole life if you let it, or if you don't know that you have it. Caffeine will cause you to react and snap at people and give you, you could be looked at as a jerk or a smart aleck or anger or frustration because of the caffeine. And then the moment the caffeine wears off, you're going to be quiet, and this doubt comes in. Am I good enough? And all these doubtful thoughts coming in. Am I good enough? You don't want that. So what do? You go back to the high again. A person with ADHD, they feel very confused. What's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why can't I understand this? Why don't I finish tasks and I don't go to my job and I have to be told 4 or 5, 6 times how to do one thing? My attention span is very, very limited to 10, 15 minutes to something. And then all of a sudden, I need that pop. I need that coffee. And the coffee does help, but I'm telling you, it's going to give you a false stimulation in the brain that is not good for you in the long term. Now, am I on coffee or do I drink coffee or pop? I do not drink those. I took those off. I felt the Lord tell me to remove those because they were hurting me. I literally caused an ulcer in my stomach because I thought I could just drink coffee all day and not eat. Well, a normal person can think, well, you need to eat all day long. Let me tell you something. When a person has ADHD, they do not think the same way as everybody else. They are it's like being in their own room. They feel isolated. They feel alone, and they think they're the only ones going through this. And if I'm talking to you, I can relate to you. I had to make decisions. Sugar is another thing, and I'll add more to that in another video. Sugar is terrible for people who have ADHD and dyslexia. It does something to you. You feel great for the first hour, and then you feel sludge. And then you put ADHD over top of that, and then you feel worse, you feel weak, you have mood swings, you feel bipolar, You just, you're not wanting to be in company around people. You want to be left alone in your room to do your own thing. Nobody understands. But caffeine, it does not help anybody living with ADHD. Now, with people who have ADD, those type of people are like, your attention is off. You go off and wonder, because you get bored easy. You may not be hyper, but at the same time, you drink that, and now you might be at a normal rate of speed where everybody else is, but you're going to crash land as soon as that caffeine wears out, and you could be worse. So pop products, caffeine, you're saying, well, it's working for me, and I've been taking it for years. Well, examine yourself a little bit. Are you irritated easy? Are you frustrated easy? Can you finish projects? Can you take direction from your boss? Can you participate in activities? Can you finish things? Are you jumping around to 4 or 5 different things at the same time and you really never finish anything? Nobody understands me. Yada yada yada. I went through all that stuff for a long time. The problem is there's many people out there that think that they live alone, they are alone, and they seclude themselves in their room. So the caffeine products makes you feel good, makes you happy. You gotta have it. But it's literally hurting your body because there's tons and tons of either corn syrup or sugar in these products. And it's literally hurting your body taking this. And then, the stimulation comes and then you have to crash land. I just wanted to tell you that you're not alone in this, and I've had this problem for a long time, and I had to cut off sugar, and I've had to cut off coffee, and I've had to cut off pop 100%, and my mind came to normal. I didn't have to rely on that. I relied on the Lord for healing me, and you may be going through the same thing. Why do I feel like this all the time? The problem is it's junk. It's man-made junk, okay? It is corn syrup with carbon drinks. It's junk that you're putting inside your body, okay? It is a lot of junk, and people who have this disorder, it's intensifying your mind maybe 4 times faster, and your mind is traveling so fast and so, nobody can keep up with you. No, when I was on that much caffeine, I literally made it so impossible for anybody to understand my language, what I was doing. They couldn't understand, they couldn't relate. I would talk so fast, I would act so fast, I would buy so fast, and then I regretted every minute of it afterwards. I spent too much money on too many things, bounced checkbooks, I overdraw my bank account, yada yada yada, because I was impulsively buying because I was high on caffeine. So I hope this has helped you. Please leave me a comment in the section below, because I know a lot of you are going through this right now. Okay? Have a great day, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Bye-bye.